Their turn.
Yeah, they started. That was the turn of failure for them.
Oh, yes.
So the party has been having a lot of crushing their opponents. So I was like, these guys will teach them a lesson. And the Arachnomancer shot her venom ray and missed, and all the drow attacked, and they all hit the doorway. The leader stuck both his swords into the wooden door frame because he missed. So he rolled like a 1 and a 2 on his attacks. And they basically embarrassed themselves. It was pretty terrible. They, I think the spider probably hurt someone a little bit, but mostly the spiders just got pushed around so they couldn't do anything. It was a pretty terrible showing for the drow on that round.
So after all this build-up, first round of the session, they fell on their faces. So then it was our round. Now,
there was some talking actually. I think that happened this round where during that round, the leader was like, wait. These are the guys. These are the guys with the box that we're supposed to be finding. And another one was like, "Are you sure? I think it's another trick." And someone, I forget what they said, but they just kept debating back and forth. Are these the guys, or is it another trick?
Yeah. And so we chimed in with, I think Serendipity Van Ghostshot on top of our tower, Shepherd of Souls was the one who did it. She chimed in with a bluff check to convince them that we didn't have the box, I think.
Yeah, and actually after that they
really,
were like...
That really screwed things up because she did really well.
But then that actually convinced them that you were the guys, because then they're like, yeah, but if it was a trick, they wouldn't try to make us think they didn't have the box. This is totally the guys. So they were all of different opinions of whether they were what this was, but...
They were pretty unanimous in, let's kill them.
Yeah, that's what they basically decided is, okay, leave one alive, because we need to interrogate them.
Mm-hmm. So, let's see now, the sequence of events. Basically the whole session was combat, so it's hard to remember the exact sequence of how this all went down. We shoved the spiders around a bit.
The next round, I think, for the party was mostly just sort of standard fighting.
Yeah, we did a lot of... Oh, yes. Rowan? Rovain was here this session. Robin's sister was in town.
The cat.
So, yes, our cat turned into an elf archer, which is how she participates whenever she's in town.
And that's when we discovered that... so Hank has an elf in his head, and we have this cat that turns into an elf. So that's when we realized we have a dog elf and a cat elf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think she nailed the Arachnomancer through the door, from way off. Did an awesome shot there. And we sort of rearranged ourselves, in this perfect arrangement. We had all the ranged strikers and healers and stuff, and spellcasters at the back, down the hallway a little ways. And then we had Krosis and Hank and Aurora, who are more of the combating types. Especially Krosis is the brick wall. He's the
Krosis is standing in the doorway, the only one they can attack. And he has this ability where it's sort of like an advanced total defense. He doesn't it's a standard action, and he puts himself into defensive mode, and every time someone attacks him, he rolls a d20, and there's a 50% chance, no damage. 50% chance, half damage. And he just stands in the doorway, and the drow are just unloading, and I'm like, yeah, I did an awesome attack, no damage. So he just stood there and took it, and just completely brick wall.
He's got all sorts of damage reductions, so they managed to get some poison on him, and he's got 10 ongoing damage, and he's like, yeah, I got 7 resistance against that, so I'm actually taking 3 ongoing damage.
Yeah,
and all sorts of stuff like that. So
it was a perfect situation too, because
he's the cork in the hole.
He could literally block the doorway, right? No one can get through, and they only really have one person with ranged attacks.
Yeah.
And
so we've really set it up perfectly. And then the next round happened.
Yeah. And they even blocked off the spiders so they could only get to Krosis by using this zone.
Yeah.
And so they had this perfect tactical situation, but then someone perceived some skittering coming from down the hallway that they had come from.
Yeah, from behind us,
where
we put all our squishy ranged guns.
And all of a sudden they see a swarm of these little creatures come running through the door, and as soon as they see them, the drow in the room say, those things, go close the door, close the door. And the door that they had knocked down, they both take attacks of opportunity to back up and push to the door up against and lean on it to
They're
block
like
these things from coming.
Re-nail it back.
And a swarm of these. Well, they're intellect devourers.
Yeah.
Little
brain dog things.
claw creature with brains on them, and they just come running down the hallway. And Hank is. I don't know why Hank was there, because you'd think that the squishies would be there.
There was a big rearrangement we did.
You
right.
perceived them; they were coming beforehand. You perceived there was something coming down the hall, so all the squishies ran away from whatever was coming.
We went around this little corner
And so
thing.
only Hank was there, and they come bounding forward, and they open, and their brains, like the brain lobes, open laterally, and they have little teeth in there, and they all jump on Hank and start sucking out his intellectual capacity. And so they don't do any physical damage, but they do a d6 to each of your attributes, which
it was nasty. And there was like a dozen of these things.
Yeah.
And they can climb on walls and ceilings and stuff. So they were all able to get at him.
They just swarmed. They swarmed him.
massacred his brain.
Yeah, they actually, it was very close, but they just barely took his wisdom to 0. So he fell into this like horrible nightmarish dream where he couldn't comprehend anything. They also did kill a spider.
At
least knock out a spider.
One of the spiders was trapped over there, and so we sort of left it as like, let's you and them fight.
And the
And
spiders
they
only have
wiped-
intelligence of 1,
So they wiped it out just, bah, like that.
And so someone did an Arcana check and found out they've heard rumors of such things existing, intellect devourers.
Yeah.
If they drop all 3 of your mental stats to 0, you die. So Hank is now unconscious because his wisdom is 0.
Yeah, he's in bad shape.
And his intelligence is like 4,
really
and his charisma
dangerous.
is like 3 or something.
If they attack him again, if they get one more round on him, it's curtains for him.
Oh, that's right. There was something he had. I think it must have been charisma that was still 7.
Yeah.
So he could for sure take 2 more hits.
But there was
that
like a dozen of them there, and he
Yeah.
was the only one there, and they were still going at him even though he was unconscious.
Yeah, and I told them they're latched on. They're
They're
gonna
gonna-
keep
yeah.
killing him even though he's unconscious.
So,
And they can still hear the drow like rapidly trying to board up the door against these things.
there's still these phase spiders, a couple of phase spiders that are problematic. They keep us from moving around easily. But Hank is in dire straits, and Cricket had just withdrawn from that area, and so she was like, "Oh no, I'm the one that's supposed to, be the sacrificial one." So she used a magic item she hadn't used before, boots of untrammeled passage or whatever it was. It basically lets her, for a round, move through enemy squares and not draw attacks of opportunity and stuff. So she ran through all the phase spiders, ran right back up next to Hank, and then used action point. No, her first attack she used Shout of Triumph. It's her only area attack. To cover almost all of the intellect devourers and Hank. To pull Hank out of there and hopefully either kill the intellect devourers or get them focused on her instead.
Yeah, we worked it seemed really weird that a charisma-based attack could pull an unconscious creature, even though by the rules it could. But luckily, Serendipity, Van Goldstride, and Malor was also running past, and actually she was right behind Hank, right? And she's the intelligent one, and all these beasts come and they suck out Hank's intelligence right in front of her, and she just panicked, especially when I mentioned that there's no rules for ability drain in 4th edition, so I was just making this up, so you have no idea if it can be healed or how.
Yeah.
So she bolted from there, and then we just worked it together that she pulled Hank with the power of
Her panic.
Cricket's spell.
Yeah. So I lay down a Shout of Triumph on these intellect devourers, and I start rolling, and I'm like 20, 18, 17, boom, boom, boom. I killed all of them, except 2 that were just out of range. And
it was right before that someone had done a check and found out they were minions.
Yeah.
And up till then, everyone was very, very scared.
Yeah.
But then once they found out they were minions, and they
we
all
were
just
still scared, but I was very concerned because these things take you down very quickly.
But yeah, they just, like a wave, they all just flipped over and
I
died.
took them all out, and pulled Hank back, and then I did a heal on him, and I used a cinematic point to make it apply to his intellectual damage. So I was able to bring Hank back online. He had 4 wisdom. So he's sort of online. He's back up on his feet, but he's a little bit. I don't know what's going on.
And your wisdom is kind of like your perception thing. So he's playing it like he's extremely drunk, because then that basically makes sense if your wisdom is 4. He's
making a lot of bad decisions.
One other thing that happened is when Cricket blew away all those intellect devours, they died kind of like spiders on their back, and then they sort of turned black and faded away into nothing.
At which point we concluded.
Yeah, like the black goo, and then disappeared.
That they were time mages. Or I concluded it.
They were time mage brain
freaking
dogs.
time mages. Minion time mages too. It was the weirdest thing. But anyway, so the drow didn't see all that though, because they got the door up. They still thought that there was this huge swarm of intellect devourers. Hank was back on his feet, but not making good decisions. So he made a decision.
Open the box.
No, he charged the door and smashed the door back down again. And he rolled really well. And so John ruled that the drow that had been like pushing it up, he gets knocked back and squished under the door. So he's now
A page out
helpless.
of Gendron's book.
Yeah, he's helpless under the door.
And so they spent a cinematic point to up that. So the door fell on him, and he's like, and then Hank bounded off the door, and that last bit of force killed the guy under the door. So his arm collapsed, and he bounded off towards the arachnomancer. Right as Serendipity shot a fireball into the room, so the door burst down, crushed a guy. Hank jumped off, and it exploded right behind him, burning all the other guys.
Yep. So
Very nice.
the arachnomancer is just freaking the hell out.
Did Hank also remember not to look at the explosion?
No, he's not looking at me.
I don't think he can barely, he probably doesn't even know there was an explosion.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
Well, then he's a cool action guy.
So yeah, the arachnomancer was already freaking out because the intellect devourers showed up. He's terrified of those things. He was screeching. She.
Everyone
right.
kept calling her she, but
I don't know,
anyway.
it wasn't even the figure that. Anyway, yeah. So right, we heard her screaming to the other drow, ordering them to kill her if they get in. Because, she doesn't want her intellect drained. She wants to die first. So now Hank is all in her face with an explosion behind her and stuff. Yeah, things are suddenly going fairly well for the party. And at this point, Serendipity, Van Goldstrand, Moore, Topper, Tower, Shepherd's Souls, and Krosis get the idea of opening the box right now. We're still in the middle of combat, but Krosis can take the box and run into the room because the door's down and there's no drow directly in the way. He can run into the room, into the circle, and open the box. But we're still in combat, round by round, so we have to work this out. We have to get the box into Krosis' hands. Currently, only Serendipity, Bengal Star, Moore, Topper, Tower, Shepherd's Souls, and Krosis want this or know anything about this. The rest of us know nothing about the deal that was made with
Stacia?
That's the name of the fairy. But Serendipity, Bengal Star, Moore, Topper, Tower, Shepherd's Souls has the backpack that has the box. But we were cautious. The backpack is that special magical enchanted backpack that lets you conceal something in it in a special way that only the person that put it into the backpack can take the thing back out again. That was in case someone robbed us or something. And it was Aurora who put the box into the backpack. And Robin was very clear. She had kept track of this carefully. So Serendipity, Van Goldstrand, Moore, Topper, Tower, Shepherd of Souls has the backpack, but she can't get the box out of it. Only Aurora can.
I'm getting ready to flip the table if you tell me this box didn't open.
so-
And when she pulled out the backpack, there's a faint glow coming from the seams of the backpack.
Yeah, there's like it's building to an epic thing here. When things start glowing, that means that there's a cinematic scene coming.
Well, and Krosis.
The effects are at play.
All right, Krosis had asked for the backpack, but
Right.
but Serendipity knew she had to give it to Aurora, so she did. And when she did, there was a huge rumbling, a huge earthquake. The ground shook,
Yeah.
and then since that time on, there was a low-level rumbling, very
Yeah.
earthquakean going on.
And so suddenly, Serendipity, Van Gulsar, Northoff, Tower, Shepherd of Souls, and Krosis both are telling Aurora, quick, get the box out of the backpack and give it to Krosis.
But they're in the middle of a fight.
Out of nowhere. And Aurora's like, what? What? Cricket, what should I do? and Serendipity's like, give the box to Krosis. And I'm like, give the box to Krosis. I don't know why. But Serendipity, that Van Gulsar, Top of Tower, Shepherd of Souls. Whew, almost missed that one. Told me to do that, and so now 3 of us are telling Aurora, give the box to Krosis.
And she's wondering if they're under mind control or what.
Hank is not in any position to say anything because
he was saying a bit, but he was drunk, right? He's like, no, we shouldn't open the box. We got to destroy the box. And everyone's ignoring him because he's drunk.
And he's run off to fight with that arachnomancer mano a mano. So yeah, he's not really there right now. In more ways than one. So now it's all down to Aurora to decide. Is she going to pull the box out of the backpack and hand it to Krosis like everyone is telling her suddenly need to do? Or is she not?
Meanwhile, the enemy was taking their turn, so while they were having this big debate, I was rolling and attacking, and
It's huge debate. I don't
really know, sword
and every once in a while, John would be like, "You take 12 damage." Okay. It's like, yeah, you're immobilized. Okay. I can still talk. Right. Okay, good. I'm going to continue arguing. Oh, it was climactic, and also it was like 10:30, so it was like real close to the end of we had to wrap the session. But Aurora stood her ground. And we didn't open the box.
I don't feel right. What happened? There's brain, mouth, things, and they chewed on my head. I don't know. It was bad, and I had a bad dream. It was weird. It was like Krosis or something. I don't know. But I'm okay now. Cricket helped me. Thank you, Cricket. But I'm still not right. We just gotta kill these guys, and I don't even know why we're here. But we gotta fix my head. And we gotta not open the box. Aurora, don't give the box to Krosis. That would be a bad idea. Okay, I'm gonna go hit some people now, and then maybe I'll lie down or something.
Hank, are you okay? Those things, they're biting you. You're getting stupider. Stupider making things. Keep them away. Keep them away. Keep them away. Ah! Wow. Oh, it feels so much better to be human, well, elf, and again. And we seem to be in the middle of combat, and there is a mage right in front of me, so I guess I'm going to shoot that. And it looks like he's hurt a lot, and that's really great. What's going on? I'm so confused. Oh, and now there's these strange intellectual eating creatures that are snapping at my heels, and I'm feeling a craving for fish. Oh. Meow.
Oh my, that was terrifying. There were these creatures that devoured the minds of the people they attacked. No wonder the drow were frightened, or the wizard at any rate. Fortunately, I managed to step in there. I put myself on the front line, and I slew them all. I protected the party. So things are going fairly well. I think we're about to finish beating those drow too. So everything's turning out all right. There was a bit of confusion where suddenly I was getting somewhat conflicting orders about whether to suddenly open the box. Krosis wants it open. Hank does not. Aurora has no idea. Serendipity, Van Goldstride and Malor, Slayer the Butcher of I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Serendipity, Van Goldstride and Malor, Toppler of Towers, and Shepherd of Souls. She cast the deciding vote, in a sense. She agrees the box should be opened. So hopefully we'll get right to that. I don't know why it should be opened right now, but I kind of support it, because then it will be over. It will all be over. I don't know if this is the right way to go about this. Oh well, it's not my decision.
Dear Diary, today a very confusing thing happened. Well, it was confusing for me. Everyone else seemed very clear on what they thought that we should do. But for the longest time, for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and a few days on top of those weeks, everyone has been saying, we mustn't open the box, we mustn't open the box. Whatever you do, don't open the box. Don't let so-and-so touch the box, so so-and-so will open the box. Don't let anyone get the box, because they'll open the box. We have to deliver the box like we promised the guy we would. We promised the guy that we would, and we had to keep our promise, because that's what you do. And then, in the middle of this combat, when these, face suckers are on people and making them act really strange, like they've been in the pub all night, and then these spiders are there, and I'm covered in webs, and we're trying to kill this last spider, and then there's these other guys trying to barricade the door, and teachers coming and calling out something, and I don't know what he's saying, and I'm worried that the little face sucker things are getting him or something, and turning him into a little kid again, maybe. And then Krosis is trying to tell me to give him the box because he wants to open it, because Stacia told him to. I'm like, Krosis, is this really the best time to start listening to Stacia, who's telling you, where is she? What are you talking about? And then, I don't understand. Serendipity, Van Goldstride of Malor, Toppler of Towers, Shepherd of Souls. She starts agreeing with Krosis and saying I should give him the box because he should open it. And what? In the middle of combat when Hank is barely okay and Rovain suddenly appeared, where was suddenly she's no longer a cat, she's a person again, and I don't know why that happened, but then all these things started sucking on her head, and suddenly now, and I'm really confused. I don't understand what's going on, and I asked Cricket what to do, because that's what I do when I don't know what to do. And then Cricket just asked Serendipity, Van Goldstride, and Malor, Toppler of Towers, Shepherd of Souls, what she should do, of course. Thanks, Cricket. That was really helpful having your opinion there, because I really needed Serendipity, Van Goldstride, and Malor, Toppler of Towers, Shepherds of Souls opinion twice. No, I didn't. I just wanted to hear your opinion. Oh, yeah, you don't have one. And I can't talk to Hank because he's kind of drunk or something, and Rovain is mewing again, and the spider, I'm covered in spider stuff. So, at least my brother's not here, and would someone help me get the spider stuff off me so I can kill the spider, and then maybe we could have a reasonable conversation about what on earth you are talking about, Krosis. Yep. It's been a great day.
There's a dream that I have. Or maybe everything else is a dream and this is reality, 'cause I'm in the world's wound and I'm climbing. In my hand is a waystone, a special waystone. And I push it into the wall, and the wall stops writhing. And there's a pulse, and it's the beating of my heart, and it's the beating of the waystones in my hands. And the wall shimmers and solidifies. And I reach for another waystone, and I reach up and I pound it into the wall, and all around me the madness rages and rages. And there are things out there, they're trying to get at me, tearing at me, and I'm climbing. It's so hard, but I've got to keep going, because I've got to get out. I've got to get everybody out, I promised them. And there's a bird all on fire, and a giant silver man, and 1,000 creatures changing into each other, and they're all Stacia, and they're all beautiful. She's trying to keep them off of me. She changes and knocks them off, and sometimes a thing with too many arms will come at me, and she'll catch it and throw it into the chasm. And she's always just a little bit faster than they are, a little bit smarter. But there are so many. She's yelling at me to hurry up, but I've got to keep reaching down to pull my friends out of the wall so that I can keep climbing. I promised I'd save everybody. I promised we'd all get out. And I keep telling her this, but she says we don't have time, and sometimes I'm so scared and confused. I reach down for one of my friends, and I can see that they're already back on my belt, and they're not in the wall, and I have to keep going. I'm so scared, and I'm hurting because she can't stop everything, and they keep getting at me, and I can't fight. I have to keep climbing. And I remember one time I tried to buy some batons so that I could use those instead. I tried to change it, but I can't change it. There's all these other dreams that I try to dream to distract myself. I'm flying on an eagle, and I'm talking to my friends, and I'm even fighting spiders, but it doesn't matter. There's only one thing that's real. There's only one thing that's here. This is where I am. I'm climbing, and the madness is raging all around me, and I have to get out. It has to end somehow. Just give me the box, and it'll